There's an issue, and maybe we should talk about it. Society has taken a wrong turn, and when I say society, I mean all westernized societies went completely in the wrong direction in terms of how, as humans, we as humans, handle other animals that inhabit this planet. It seems like greed, cowardice, and pride are the three main factors driving societies to continue exploiting animals for food and other commodities. Greed from the corporate bigwigs continuing to profit off this abhorrent exploitation of sentient life. Cowardice from our supposed leaders to step up and finally abolish this horrific shit we call the animal agriculture system, which should actually be called the animal exploitation and slavery system, if you ask me. And pride from the consumers who are unwilling to give up their traditions and pleasures from all this pain and suffering once they've been educated about where their foods come from. This is what is keeping the animal exploitation business alive and well, and this is what vegans are trying to end. Per the norm, vegans can come off very passionate when speaking to other people who are not vegan because of all the pain and suffering that is occurring for unsubstantiated reasons. In other words, it just simply isn't necessary. It can be very frustrating at times. Nonetheless, it's important to remember that we were all not vegan at one point in time in our lives, if you are vegan and you're watching this. And also, it's also very important to keep in mind that veganism is not about winning arguments or debates, but ending animal exploitation as much as possible. This leads us to this issue between Penguinz0 and Vegan Gains. Just to fill everyone in who hasn't been in the loop, this Penguinz0 fellow made a video about some random Asian chick on YouTube torturing and eating live animals on camera and then uploading these videos up onto YouTube. Penguinz0 apparently thinks that it's cruel and obscene to upload this content for kids and people to watch, and it's horrific to the animals. And in normal fashion, Vegan Gains is calling Penguinz0 a hypocrite because he is not vegan and he eats dead animal parts like chicken parts from KFC, and KFC gets their animal products or these chickens from factory farms, and he's in turn, by buying that KFC, essentially supporting factory farming and all the atrocities that happen behind all that. So Penguinz0 made a response video to Vegan Gains and pretty much deflected the whole hypocrite and vegan argument the whole time. I'm not against Penguinz0, as I agree with a lot with what he was saying, but he did not actually address the topic of living a vegan lifestyle or not necessarily being a hypocrite, because he was in defense the whole time, and it looks like this is turning into some type of argument. You essentially have Vegan Gains who's saying Penguinz0 is a hypocrite because of XYZ. If any vegans are watching this, we know why you should be vegan. It's the most sustainable way for us humans to live on this earth without having a huge impact on other lives on this planet and leaving a smaller footprint for ourselves. It's the most sustainable way for us to live. Long story short, that's why most of us are vegan. And then you have Penguinz0 saying, no, I'm not a hypocrite, and you're an asshole for calling me a hypocrite, Vegan Gains. That's the simple version of all this. I say, let's take a step back and look at this. Vegan Gains has acknowledged the fact that Penguinz0 responded to him. As some of you may know, this is extremely rare when a vegan calls out someone else. Usually, this meat eater or this other person who happens to be some type of influencer or whatever, some big YouTube star, whatever it is, usually they just ignore this shit. They don't say anything, they just let it be because they don't want to look stupid, their ego gets in the way, they don't care, whatever the reason, they usually just leave it alone. But nonetheless, Vegan Gains actually got his attention, and Penguinz0 is actually willing to talk about this. Now, I'm gonna say something that is probably going to piss off a whole bunch of people, but nonetheless, I feel it's necessary to state it. So here it goes. Vegan Gains, he fucked this all up. He essentially turned this discussion into an argument by completely debunking him in another response and then challenged him to a debate. Look guys, I'm not against debate But there's a time and place for debates. This is not a scenario where a debate is required, but a simple conversation between Penguinz0 and Vegan Gains, or any type of vegan activist or somebody who just has their head on straight. It's not like super biased or whatever, so that he can realize that he is in fact a vegan himself, that being Penguinz0. A simple, friendly conversation should probably do the trick, or at least get him moving in the right direction. This Penguinz0 fellow seems like a very intellectual person who has shown to have compassion for animals. It just needs to be further exposed. Of course, he buys animal products, just like we all did at one point in our lives. It's called cognitive dissonance, and he shouldn't be shamed for it at this moment, as this is only gonna make things worse. He just needs to come to his own conclusions, and like I said, he seems like a pretty smart dude, so he probably will make the right choice. It's as simple as this. Hey man, I apologize for calling a hypocrite. I have a tendency to get like really emotional about these subjects, and it's something I'm trying to get a better handle on. I get worked up because there are billions of victims involved in this tragedy that is occurring daily, and I think you're right in regards to what you say about certain vegans making this movement harder for people to transition over than what it really needs to be. That being said, dude, like, why aren't you vegan, and what's keeping you from being vegan? And the reasons why I'm asking you this is because you seem like a really smart dude, and it seems like you've actually kind of looked into it. So would you mind expounding on that if you can? Then just let the conversation develop in its own way. Is it gonna go exactly like that? Of course not. But that's not what Vegan Gains did. He instead turned it into an argument. And this is really frustrating to watch, because I know Richard Burgess, that being Vegan Gains, is a very smart guy. He's very well read, all that stuff, and I have tremendous respect for the guy. But damn, dude, has he lost sight of what the mission is here? The mission is a vegan world, and doing what you can to make a vegan world a reality. Not winning arguments or debates via a YouTube live stream. I say save the debates for other vegans about lesser topics, or these carnivore idiots, or these low carb idiots, or these stubborn people that want to deny science, who want to make themselves look like idiots. This guy clearly doesn't fall into this group of dumbasses. He's obviously got compassion for these animals and has something good brewing up in there. He's not really trying to argue anything. Therefore, there's no need to start a debate or anything. He probably just needs to be talked to and not offended. Has anyone he's ever debated, that being Vegan Gains, gone vegan after a debate? Maybe they have. I mean, I have no idea, but nonetheless, I don't think this is the proper route to take when dealing with an individual like Penguinz0. He doesn't seem that illogical. He doesn't seem like that bad of a dude. Again, I'm not saying I'm against debates, but clearly this situation does not call for one. I also want to clear this up for any of the individuals who have watched any of my previous videos, specifically my Professor of the Month series, and will likely say that it is highly hypocritical of me for doing the exact opposite in that series compared to what I have stated in this video. And to a degree, I would say you are correct. However, my Professor series is just simply a way of me making fun of this obscene level of misinformation, and a way to hopefully get the attention of any of these professors so I can talk to them on a private platform, but preferably a public platform that can be broadcasted across as many social media platforms as possible, so that we can just clear the air and all multiple parties can witness it and see that the vegan lifestyle is the most sustainable and ethical lifestyle that we should all be living. It's actually really sad to say that people have to use this label of vegan rather than just person. The truth is, none of us believe in the needless exploitation of these animals. That's the truth. The truth is, we are all vegan. We just haven't realized it yet. You see, I can care less about being right or winning a debate or an argument, because that's not what this is about. The animals don't give a shit whether I'm right or wrong, or you're right or wrong, or your emotions or my emotions, or whatever the fuck. They just don't want to be abused and murdered. Deep down inside, unless you're some type of psychopath or sociopath, we all want this obscenity to end, because I believe, and I believe everyone else believes as well too, that we as humans are better than this shit. And I'm going to wrap this video up with a few quotes from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Chapter 2, A Sure Way of Making Enemies and How to Avoid It, page 116 for those who want to follow along at home. You can tell people they are wrong by a look or an intonation or a gesture just as eloquently as you can in words. And if you tell them they are wrong, do you make them want to agree with you? Never, for you have struck a direct blow at their intelligence, judgment, pride, and self-respect. That will make them want to strike back, but it will never make them want to change their minds. You may then hurl at them all the logic of Plato or an Immanuel Kant, but you will not alter their opinions, for you have hurt their feelings. And in this case, I'm not saying Vegan Gains hurt Penguin's feelings, but he definitely insulted him by calling him a hypocrite. Now that's what got his attention, and that's okay. Okay, what I'm saying is, I think this would be a good time to get him on your side, because he's offended, dude. You called him a hypocrite, and the guy's calling you an asshole because you called him a hypocrite. What's the big deal if you just apologize real quick? Let's clear the air, dude. You might have this guy with a huge following to actually go vegan. So I'm gonna move forward here. Over 300 years ago, Galileo said, "You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him find it within himself." So Vegan Gains, if you get a chance to watch this video, I'm highly flattered if you do, but I don't think you will, but whatever. Nonetheless, I strongly recommend you read this book, and if you have read this book in the past, I hope that you can find some time to read it again, because you're making enemies and starting problems where you don't have to. Because you seem like a really smart dude, man. You seem like a guy who can be much more influential with everything that you do and be a much more positive force in this vegan movement, in this mission to have a vegan world. So that's about it for now. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. As you know, I love to engage with all of you. Please know I appreciate every single one of you. Feel free to rate, subscribe, and hit the ding dong button if you haven't already. I'm the Natural Hulkster. I want to thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for the next one.